This video will go through the 2009 Math Released OGT from problems 41 through 44. 44 is the last problem. So on this problem, what is the value of the expression n squared minus w squared divided by q if n equals 1 over 3, q equals negative 6, and q equals 2 over 3? So we have n squared minus w squared over q. If they give us actual numerical values, we plug in the numerical values instead of the letters. If it's a fraction or a negative, which they all are, we should definitely include some parentheses. Instead of n, we have 1/3. We still have the squared, that didn't get replaced, only the letter gets replaced. Minus w is negative 6 squared over q is 2/3. So we can actually just plug this whole thing into the Desmos Scientific Calculator that is on the OGT. When you take it on the computer, this calculator is an option. You have to click for it. There's a button to open the calculator and access it. And always make sure that you scroll around and make sure you can see all the features of it so that you can fully utilize it. So we're going to do parenthesis 1 divided by 3. That makes it into a fraction, or you could have hit a over b. And then we click to the right and end the parenthesis before we hit squared. We want the squared to go outside the parentheses. So we have an a squared button that'll automatically put that on. Minus parenthesis negative 6 and parenthesis squared again, and something weird happened. I think I hit parenthesis and was outside of it. I'm going to erase and fix this. Yeah, for some reason it put me outside. If you mess up, just erase, and then I'm going to click inside to put the negative 6 squared again. And then we want it to be a fraction, so we hit fraction button, parenthesis 2 divided by 3. And parenthesis by clicking to the right and ending it, and we get negative 53.88888 repeating. So none of the answers say exactly that. It's pretty easy to tell which one it is, though, as long as the front part is matching. And there's no other. If there were two negative 53s, we'd have to get a little creative. If one of the other answer choices did say negative 53 for whatever reason, we could go to our calculator, and we could do the 8 divided by 9 to see if our decimals match. If we do 8 divided by 9, it does give us the 0.8888 repeating, so we know that that has the correct decimal with the correct beginning piece. Question 42. Population data for Ohio is provided in the table below, and it gives us a table with all the data. Based on the data, what is the probability, rounded to the nearest 10,000, that a male selected at random in Ohio in 1998 would have been Hispanic? So, to the nearest 10,000th is to the 4th decimal place. So first, second, third, fourth. We want 4 digits after the decimal. And they limited what part of the table they're going to use. It said that a male selected. We don't need the female, we don't need the total, because they limited it to the male column. So we only use that, and then we're looking for Hispanic. Hispanic, the number is 76,660. To find a probability, we take the number we want to happen, which is what we just got. We want a Hispanic male, and we divide by the total number of males. We got rid of the other columns because we're only looking at the male population. But now we just plug that into our calculator again. To go to a new line, we hit the enter button. We do 76,660 divided by 5215573, and we get 0.01469. Since we're rounding here at the 4th digit, we look at the number next to it and say, oh, the 9 is going to make that 6 go up to a 7. So our final answer is 0.0147. Problem 43. A company is comparing two different postage plans for next year. The company can purchase a postage plan where the total cost, C1, is $45,000 plus $3,000 per mailing, where N is the number of mailings. The cost, C2, of the other plan is 35 cents for each piece P mailed. Which of the following is a set of equations modeling the costs of the two plans? So we have some key information here. C1 is 45,000 plus 3,000 per mailing, where N is the number of mailings. So we start with C1. The word is means use an equal sign. There's words like has or total, and that is where we use an equal sign. So we should say C1 equals, which all of our equations have, 45,000 plus means use a plus sign. So C1 equals 45,000 plus 3,000 per mailing. When you see the word per, that means multiply. And then the mailing, they said to use the letter N. That's why they say where N is the number of mailings. So 45,000 plus 3,000 N. So that's our first equation, which means A is not our answer. And C is not our answer. We either have to be B or D. So our next sentence says the cost C2 of the other plan is 35 cents for each piece mailed. So C2 is, again, means use an equal sign. 35 cents for each also means multiply. So 0.35 times P is 0.35P. You don't have to actually write the multiply sign because when there's a number next to a letter, you automatically assume it's multiply, which means our answer has to be answer choice D. And last problem, the Johnsons were going to a family wedding and drove a total of 1,244 miles to reach their cousin's house. They spent 9 hours driving the first day at an average speed of 60 miles per hour. They reached their cousin's house on the second day after driving 11 hours. What was their average speed on the second day? So there is one more formula to memorize called distance equals rate times time. Kind of looks like dirt to me. So D stands for distance, R for rate, T for time. So we can use that information to help us figure out some of this information. On the first day, they spent 9 hours driving. So T is 9 on the first day, and they went a speed of 60 miles per hour. R is 60 on the first day. So on the first day only, I'm going to put D1 for day 1 or distance 1 because we have a total distance, but that's the distance for both days. So for this distance, we're going to do 60 times 90. Oops, my bad. 60 times 9 is 540. So the distance the first day was 540. Now for the second day, all we know is the time. They spent 11 hours on the second day. But if we know the total distance and we know the first day's distance, we can subtract those two to find the second day's distance. So 1244 minus 540 is 704. So the distance on day 2 is 704. And we can go back to this D equals rate times time, distance equals rate times time, and say, well, the distance is 704 for day 2. The rate we don't know, and the time is 11 hours. So knowing this, we can find the rate by using division. Opposite of multiply is divide, so we have to divide the 704 by the 11 to get rid of the 11 and move it to the other side. So 704 divided by 11 is 64 miles per hour. So our final answer is C. Now, if you were unsure of how to solve this equation, you're like, I don't know if I need to divide or add or multiply, you could have also just plugged in the answer choices and seen if any came out as 704. You're going to say, I'm going to try a rate of 60 and multiply by the 11 hours. 60 times 11 is 660 and we wanted 704, so it's not answer choice A. And you could have gone through each answer choice and done that to try and just kind of eliminate to find the correct answer. So that concludes all the 2009 OGT problems.